Hey, Tom here, Flip Anything USA. So today, oh, look what I got behind me. I'm going to be talking about this guy. I'm going to be talking about Grant Cardone here. This guy's biggest hypocrite, and that's being nice. But we'll talk about that later. But these are some of the stuff we'll get into. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about a little bit today is just, we're going to have this interest rate hike again. We're going to have another one. It looks inevitable. And with this hike, we're seeing more crime. We're already seeing crime go up. I don't know why we can't keep anybody employed. Nobody wants a job anymore. I don't know where they're getting their money, but people definitely are getting money, and nobody wants to work, and it's crushing. It's crushing us. So let me pop this out just a second here. I don't know what you guys have experienced or seen in your area, but hey, Cudham, how's it going there? But I thought this was interesting. So, check it out. So I've had more break-ins here lately, and I'm really on top of theft. Property damage is a huge thing, and it's becoming a bigger problem all over with the homeless, and we got people that just don't want to work. They'd rather walk the streets, and we have some people that are just sick. They don't belong on the streets, but there they are. So we're going to get into that in 1 minute.
It's the best thing I ever did.
Okay, so look, I thought we'd start off with this. This is interesting. The Pawn Star guy, he was on Fox News, and he was talking about warning, inflation is crushing middle America. Well, I think we all kind of feel that and know that. And one thing I am got to say is the interest rate's going up. We should have done this a long time ago. It is definitely doing what they'd hoped. It is starting to kill the real estate market to a degree, and that means huge opportunities for us. And I'm looking forward to it. I've already, I just made a deal the other day. I'll be anxious to share that with you soon. And anyhow, let's take a look at this and see what he has to say.
Back in business, thanks to inflation, pawn shops across the country are seeing a resurgence of buyers and sellers looking to make a quick buck, including at one of America's most famous pawn shop locations.
This guitar was actually played by Jimi Hendrix.
That's a big wow factor right there. I'll give you $500,000.
Wow. You only have to sell a couple of those. Here with the impact of rising costs on his business, Pawn Stars host Rick Harrison joins us today. He's out on the road. He's filming. Rick, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, we talked a little bit about this last week on how it's a sign of the time. So many people with inflation and gas so high and food so high, they're a little short when it comes to how much money they've got in their pockets. So what are they doing? They're hawking stuff at pawn shops.
It's a real double-edged sword. You have, basically, you have like small business owners, and a lot of them got so much PPP money, and now that ERC money is coming into all of them, they're getting tons of money, which is driving up the price of collectibles and everything else like that. When middle America is just, it's crushing them with the oil thing. A large portion of the year, I live on the Oregon coast where it's really rural. People drive a lot. And there's people, they don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
If you drive a diesel truck and you work construction and you put 100 miles a day on it, it really affects what you're going to get in groceries at the end of the week.
Rick, what are you seeing come through the doors where somebody's, obviously you can tell in talking to them, they're hurting. And, they always kept something. It was an heirloom or it was a treasure. And it's got to break your heart that you can't give them more money for it.
It's the wedding band. It's the wedding band or something like that. And these are people who, you take this.
Yeah, so really, it's just middle America is the one that really gets wiped out on this. The rich, the cost of a tank of gas, the cost of buying a new car, all that stuff is really irrelevant to somebody that's wealthy. Somebody that's a 1% or a 2%er, it's insignificant. But it's in Middle America. Middle America, there's a lot of Middle America. And so they're the ones that are getting hurt the worst. And it's funny because this is kind of a high-end fancy pawn shop, and of course, you're going to see, like I said, a $500,000 guitar go through there, but you're going to see, like I said, you're going to see the wedding rings, you're going to see the family heirlooms. Those things are going to start coming in because those people, the people that are holding on to these items, they can't get by. They need it. I remember a friend of mine, before he became self-employed, I had him over for dinner, and I was talking about gas being expensive. This is like 10, 15 years ago or something. And she got a new car, and I'd asked her, not a new car, but she got a used car. And I asked her, I said, so, what kind of mileage you get on that? She goes, I wouldn't know. She said, I only get $20 a week for gas. In other words, they couldn't afford to fill the tank at that time. That was a kind of a wow moment for me. I'm thinking, wow, I was poor when I was a kid, and I remember, believe me, that's one of the reasons I know that milk can sit out on the counter warm without a refrigerator for 36 hours. But but she couldn't afford to fill her truck up, so she really didn't even know the little car that she had. She really didn't know what it was. She really didn't have any idea what the mileage was on it, or what it cost to fill the tank, because she could never fill the full tank. So let's keep watching.
A single mom, okay, who has to drive to work every day, has to get groceries for her kids. This is devastating, because when they talk about, we got 8.6% inflation or something like that, that's across the board. When you talk to people who have lower middle income and they have to drive a lot, this affects them a lot more. It's not 8% inflation, it's like 25% inflation.
Sure. But at the same time, you are running a business and you need to make money, but just like everybody else, you have a problem right now with supply and demand. You can't get stuff.
I can't get merchandise. It is that double-edged sword, because the people who got all this PPP money, the ERC money, that puts so much money into the system, higher end stuff, the price has gone to the ceiling. Meanwhile, just like cleaning supplies, the price has doubled in the past year. All the little things. The power bill's gone up a lot. It's harder and harder to stay in business, and we have a government that has no idea what it's doing.
Well said. Well said. So, I don't know what you guys think on this. I just, I didn't watch this before I put it on with you guys. I just wanted to, touch base in here. The crime is going up. Like I said, in my properties, I'm having to deal with more and more of that stuff. And you can just feel the stress. I can tell you, I've got a guy that's trying to expand his food park, and he's got a second trailer, and he's got that thing going. And the sad part about it is, he's going to run 2 food trailers at once, right? He can't keep anybody in there. He says, he's given, and then I got a picture of his lock was cut. And so I had to say, listen, man, you kind of got the prime position in this park. I said, but you don't have anybody there. You're dead. You're making the place look dead. And so I told him he needed to move his trailer. So we moved his trailer today, and we put in like a snow cone place. 103 degrees here just about every day. And I figured the snow cone is a better pick for the prime spot, because everybody will come flooding in, and then they'll find out about the rest of the food trailers. And that's an important thing that for you guys that, with your tenants, you got to make decisions that are best for everybody in your building, whether you have a shared building or a shared space like a food park. And I have different properties like this, and you've got the ones that kind of help bring in more people, and that's important to everybody, within your commercial retail facility. But the sad part is that he can't get anybody to come in and work. And I've said this the other day. I was at P.F. Chang's. I was relieved to see that, half the tables or more than half the tables were empty. And then I was blown away when they said it's a 45-minute wait. I said, why? They go, we only got 3 servers. I go, how? How is that possible? And she said, sometimes we only have 1. She said, you're lucky. You're here tonight. You can get served. I mean, And he's talking about the PPP money and what do you call it, the ERT? I didn't get any of that money, but I did actually get some money for employees at one of my companies. But and it was smart. It was just kind of a form of unemployment. In other words, they just basically paid the benefits and unemployment to people that were off through the employers, which was smart because people couldn't go in and pull a check or get a thing. But, the way they really blew it, of course, is by giving everybody a check whether they needed it or not. And that was the huge mistake is, people that lost their job, sure, give them a check. But people that didn't lose their job, give them a check too, which is like 90%. It just, for those of you who don't understand inflation, it's just money. Money is what brings it about. The more money there is, the more plentiful money is, the more easier money is to come by, the more money people make in an area, they start bidding against each other. They kind of bid everything up is what happens because it's just so, and when you take free money, it's just like real estate. I talk about, inherited real estate, how it's so quickly squandered, and I've made millions of dollars on other people squandering real estate that they inherited from somebody else. And that is because they didn't earn it. They didn't earn it. So when it's handed to you, easy come, easy go. That's exactly what that applies to. Easy come, easy go. You get it, you didn't earn it. You throw it out, buy everybody a drink, whatever. You didn't earn it. And so, but this whole thing, is in the end for us investors, real estate investors that are sharp. There's just all kinds of opportunity. We got a very lazy America, and I tell people all the time, I'm starting to sound more and more like my father. Okay, complaining to my grandfather, but really it is. I don't think it's the same. I think we all see it. You see, how is it we have people living under bridges all over the place, living on the streets, begging for food, begging for this and that, or begging for money, not food. Most of them turn down food. But they're right in front of a 7-Eleven or a Kentucky Fried Chicken or all these different $15 an hour job places are all hiring. They're all trying to get people to work for them. Yet there's people laying in their in the streets in front of their places that we're supposed to feel sorry for because they can't get a job. The drugs are coming across our borders like crazy. Now that's a real problem. I even have a nephew of my own is dead. He's dead. 21 years old or 22 years old, and he's dead now. And it's fentanyl. That fentanyl was all but gone until this new administration. And all of a sudden, if you remember, everybody said, "Oh, the walls don't work, and they were screaming and crying about the walls going up or the gate, or what do you want to call it, the fence. Well, the fence went up, and walls went up, and fentanyl stopped coming into our country. The deaths went just so dramatically down, and as soon as, the guards changed, now the gates are open. They put big gates and opened up the gates, and now we've got a flood of people. In fact, it was, I think, just this month, they said, that more illegal immigrants from Mexico came across this month, first time in a long time, than South America. In other words, we've been getting people just flooding in from Honduras. I mean, we're getting them from Haiti. We're getting them from everywhere, flooding into our country through Mexico. So you just think, you don't have to be too bright to think about this. Mexico lets anybody come into their country knowing that they're not going to stay in their country. They're just going to let them right on through into the USA. And think of the fortune, the amount of money that you're going to make on letting people fast track into the city. In other words, you pay Mexico for the fast track citizenship into the USA. Just come on here and we'll walk you through. We'll walk you over the border. And that's why the drug cartels are packing people full of drugs. China is bringing drugs into Mexico, and then you put a couple $100,000 worth of fentanyl in a cup this size, maybe even $1 million to fit in there, and and just walk it across. And now it's in our country. Now it's killing our kids again. And it's a new problem. So it's a horrible stinking mess. And it's these opioids and things. It's kind of like just about. Was it Japan or China was destroyed by opium, hundreds of years ago, and we're kind of falling back into that, and then make things just a perfect storm. Now that things are more expensive than ever, people feel that much further from being able to make it to get by, and you got these crazy city councils around the country. They worry about affordability. They say, oh, we need affordability. We need affordability. They don't give a shit about the middle class. They don't care about the affordability of people that just want to have a home, just an average home. They care about, in fact, they bought a hotel recently in my area. I think it was a 70-room hotel. They paid twice what it was worth. So somebody got, fat off that deal. And then they figured out that they were going to spend about $60,000 a year, or 65,000, I think, every 2 years per person. In other words, they're going to put homeless people, say, here's a room in a hotel. We're going to put you up for free. But because of they have to keep a cop there 24/7, and all the crime and the drugs that start going on around the thing, that they realize it cost about $35,000 a year roughly for them to let somebody to put a homeless person in a hotel that the city bought. They could have just given him a voucher and paid his rent at any hotel, let him stay anywhere and save money. But that's government. It's like he said. It's just exactly what he said at the tail end here. What did he say about the government? It was well said. What was it? Let's take a quick look at that again.
Harder to stay in business, and we have a government that has no idea what it's doing.
There you go. That's what he said. We have a government that doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and look, so look, a lot of us are going to make a lot of money in this downturn, and that would be normal in these kind of circumstances, but it is so much worse than it needs to be. It's just a disaster. So anyways, I don't know what y'all think about that, but I just wanted to touch base with you. I'm going to be doing a video here. You can kind of see I got some of this stuff queued up on Grant Cardone. This guy's like the biggest hypocrite in the country, and that's putting it nicely. I think he's just really extremely misleading and a little bit deceiving, to be quite honest. I hate to say it, but I don't know how else to do it. In fact, here in this video here, he's walking you around a house that he bought, and then he's walking around another house that he bought. I think one of those in Florida, one's in Malibu, and then you go back in time here, and you'll see where it says right here, your house is one of the dumbest investments you can make, and the statements that he makes in some of these things are so stupid. And in fact, I think what he's figured out is Grant Cardone has figured out that the masses are the asses. He knows that better than anybody. It's just like a politician. A politician, they know they can do whatever they want the first 2 years while they're when they get in office. They can just shit all over everybody that put them in office. Then after the 2-year period, if they're in a 4-year term, then after that 2 years is up, which is about where we're at with the current administration, then they start to do the right thing. And so they just make a mess the first 2 years, do all the dirty shit, and then the second 2 years, they start to act more like the way they did when they got elected last time. And that's kind of like Grant Cardone. He'd tell you cash is shit. He would tell you that cash is trash. He would tell you that don't buy your house, don't ever buy your house. Anyhow, we'll do a nice video on this. You guys going to come hang out tomorrow? I can't even, I'm looking for the comments here. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Sorry, guys, I couldn't see all these comments that are here. So what do you guys think? So anyways, anyhow, you guys come back. Well, I'll try to schedule it, but we can talk about Grant Cardone here, and just to me, it's just sickening, the advice he's given. In fact, if you look at this one here, you'll see in this one here, because we're going to go back and quote this. This is his number one thing.
I think that's an understatement.
Let's see. What we're watching right now. Should I buy the house? I already know the answer is no. He's already said that.
Money, I gotta buy Rolex.
Yeah, this is it right here.
I know there's a bunch of haters out there hating on me like, oh yeah, you say anything long enough, you're gonna be right. That's not true. I told you, sell your homes. I told you guys, if you got a house, sell it.
Yeah, he told you to sell your homes. I told you guys, sell your homes. And what shit advice that was. And so here, take a look in here. And I'm going back to one of my old videos here. This is when he was saying that, right in here at 2019, 2018, all in this area right here, saying, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. Right, really real heavy right up in here. And then what happened? Your house, if it was worth $400,000, it was worth over $600,000, and that's pretty much across the board, everybody. So in other words, if you had a home that was worth $100, it was worth $150. Across the board, everything went up. And then, what's sick is he's in here and he's backpedaling, trying to explain. Oh well, what I didn't tell you is that it's okay to buy a home if you buy it right, or if you buy it if it's got a great location. It's just absolutely appalling. But anyhow, we're going to do a nice video on that. I hope all you guys will join me on that. Let's see. Let me read a couple questions here, guys, and I got to go. Let's start from the bottom here. Hello, why are you saying that the crash has come? A lot of these homes are still... Listen, the people that are going to get hurt the worst aren't going to be the people that already have $1 million. It's going to be the people that are more reliant on a job. Not exclusively, but I can tell you, I've already seen things. I mean, everybody is. If you're in real estate, Joshua, you would know right now. If you're an agent or anything else, you'll see that everything's sitting on the market longer. In fact, this month we had a record. It goes back to pre-pandemic to deals falling out. I think it was 15% of all the deals that people went into. In other words, people that engaged in a contract to buy fell out, and we're seeing more of that. And I think it's just going to get a lot worse. The house I just bought the other day, the one I just signed on for, I'm going to close here in a few days, had fallen out twice before. In other words, people are buying it, change their mind. And I don't know if it was because they were trying to flip it to somebody, or they just, they're trying to get a partner, and the partners are like, hey, forget it. That happens. But there's some fantastic opportunities coming as a result. Some people have held out for, they hold out for too much, for too long. Henry Booker, one of my best mentors that I ever had, or at least a role model. I can't say he mentored me, but I from afar I watched him. But he would tell me, he'd say, you can't get hurt taking a profit. You can't get hurt taking a profit. And that's why I tell you, if you got something you want to get rid of in the next year or two, you better get rid of it right now, because you're not going to probably see the values go up at all. And, if you need the money, if you don't need the money, hang on to it. It doesn't really matter. But everybody knows their situation better than anybody. If you, and this is really important, because only you can gauge how much of a storm you can handle, right? If you own a lot of your property outright, I'm pretty close to that. I don't know everything outright. I have some stuff that's owned outright. I have other stuff I can finance 100% because most of everything else I have is paid for. So only you know what you can do. So you got to be really careful about how much you can weather. You got to be realistic as to whether or not you're going to have a job next year, or if whatever you're doing isn't going to become obsolete in some way. Some people get wiped out. I was actually kind of blown away the other day. I was looking at Husqvarna lawnmowers, and they got a robotic, basically a Roomba, and basically they can mow your whole yard, like up to I think 3/4 of an acre, electronically, and the thing just runs every day. And I thought, wow, this is a fantastic new product. I'm gonna have to check it out. And I looked in the YouTube video on this thing was 7 years old, so I'm a little late to the game hearing about that. So Barry wrote, Tom, if I have a 1031, can I buy a single family home. I'm going to say home. I'm guessing you got that wrong. As long as I don't live in it. And now, Barry, you better get some education on that. But I'll tell you, and I can't advise you, but what I can tell you is right now is the old general rule used to be like kind. You can buy like kind real estate. You know, you can live in it. There's no reason you can't. You can do a 1031 and buy something. I mean, I'll let you confirm that with your CPA, but I don't know why you couldn't do it. I mean, when you got your own home, your homestead, you're allowed to sell your home, and then you have up to 2 years to reinvest to buy something else, anyways. But you could buy a property with a 1031, and then you could, you could, if you chose to keep that home for yourself, you could homestead it, and you could make it your home. If it's in the name of an entity, some county, assessors will have a little heartburn over you not holding it in your personal name. Others don't care. As far as the government goes, that's passed through. You can, and even the banks don't care. You can buy something in your name and then deed it into into an entity like an LLC or a limited partnership, and the banks are fine with that. I mean, I've been doing it for many years, and then likewise you can bring it back. You can bring it back from the partnership status back to you and your wife if you own it with you and your wife. If you got it with your kids, it gets more complicated then. Hey Keith, glad to see you in here. What's happening out there in in your part of the world? What do you see going on with homes, Keith? Keith's in L.A. He's in a rough part of L.A. And I can't even think of the name. Compton. Yeah, I've been there looking at property, and that's where I met Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown gave me some interesting advice. He practically ran out of the little liquor store he was in to keep me and my friend from coming in. This was a primarily a black neighborhood, and he was worried about me getting killed and my friend getting killed. It was a very rough area. Everything was barred up everywhere, and he's the one who told me. He said, "Listen," he said, "I'm a fireman for 40 years, and my best friends are white guys." And he goes, "They're rich. They bought in the white neighborhoods." He goes, "And I'm still working at the liquor store, and I bought in the black neighborhoods." Said, "Don't buy black, or your money will turn black." Strong statement, but it means something coming from him. And the bottom line is, your and Keith is also black, and he's in here. He's cheering me on. Your money will definitely turn bad. Yeah. Anyways. So, hey, I'm going to cut it here. Keith, really good to see you in here, buddy. I'd like to see you back into the mentorship. Throw me an email. I'll get you a pass. If you don't have one, I'll get you so you can come in on a Zoom on a Saturday, listen in, hang out. We got plenty of people that actually work while in the mentorship. It's a very cool thing. But hey, thanks for hanging out, everybody. And let me run this by everyone, and we'll see you soon.